Hey everybody, it is Matthew of Mr. Domestic. This is the fundamentals of fabric weaving. In this video, we're going to focus on the traditional basket weave. So before we get into the content, make sure to click that subscribe button and we're gonna have some fun now. Now in this video, I'm going to show you how to do a traditional basket weave. It's an over-under simple pattern, but if you're new to fabric weaving, this is probably the best place to start because it's definitely manageable, it's quicker, and you see a faster result and can turn it into something awesome. So what I have here, I have two sets of strips. These are strips that I've prepared, double folded under. One's gonna go one way, the other's gonna go the other way, and these are longer than the 10-inch grid that I've created. So I have 10 of each. And whenever you do fabric weaving, we talk about layers. This one has 2 layers. So the first thing that I'm going to do is pin the first layer, and I like to start in the center. And this is where I use this as a guide, the center line that you can see. And then I'll pin at an angle. And this is a close-up of the pinning so that you can see it up close. I pin it at an angle like this because it allows for the strips to be taut and it keeps them from moving as you do the weave. So I'll speed this layer up so you don't have to see it in real time. Okay, and I have one more strip. And one additional thing, whenever you're doing the first layer in any kind of weave, make sure that the strips butt up against each other. It's more important than making sure that it falls directly on one of the grid lines. And as you can see, it's a little short of that grid line, which is totally fine. This is the final one. Yay, so first layer is done. This is what's called the first layer. If you hear us refer to that, that's what it is. And now, these are the tools you will need for the second layer. These are the ones that I always have on hand. I'll have my 1-inch wefty. I have that purple thing, but anything that will help you make sure that you get it without messing up the fabric. And then I always have a seam ripper on hand, not to rip seams, but sometimes I need something pokey and I'll keep it going. So this is how you thread the wefty. You use the bottom one and just have it go through. It's like a needle. And I leave 2 or 3 inches on the underside before I go. And now we're going to start the actual weaving. I like to start in the center, so use that center line as a guide. So I'm going over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under. That is the pattern. That's going to be the pattern for this entire weave, just alternating each strip that you go. And now you look for that center line right here, and I'll line it up here and pin it. And this is the second layer that I'm doing now. And then I lined it up on the other side. See it right there? I'm gonna line it up and then pin it. And now since this is a smaller basket weave, the rest should just line up, but as you go, you can move this aside and make sure that everything is parallel. And now I'm gonna do one more of this layer strip in real time so that you can see what I do to make sure that they're flush and butted up. So this one goes under because the other one went over. Under, over, under, over, under, over. And how I use my purple thing, or that purple thing, is instead of using my fingers, I'll use it to lift it. I don't know, in case you have greasy fingers, sometimes I'm eating as I'm doing it. It keeps the grease or any of the oils from your hands getting onto the weave. So now this is done, but you want it to be as flush as possible. And this is where I use my seam ripper. I prefer a dull one to a sharp one, just to get it right next to it. Right next to it, right next to it. Get it as close. I feel like, in my opinion, the tautness and the closeness of all of the different strips of the weave is what makes a weave excellent. So the more taut you can get it, the better. So those are the first 2 strips. And I showed you those in real time. Ooh, this is gonna be really neato. I'm gonna fast forward the other ones, but you can watch it in fast time now. And now I am threading the final strip of the weave. Yay! Over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under. Ta-da! Yay! I love the play on stripes in this box weave or basket weave. It's really awesome. So pin the last two. Ta-da! So this is a weave you can do with your kids. You can do it with other textiles. You don't necessarily only have to do it with fabric, but this is a great stepping stone and introduction into the amazing world of fabric weaving. Thanks for watching my video. You can subscribe on the right, just click on my face and watch some of my other videos on the left.